1 second. We should hopefully be live, but there's always a little lag, so bear with me. One minute. Come on. Here we go. 1 sec. Okay. Let's just check. I'm just checking on Instagram to make sure we're live. Yep, we're live. Run that down. Okay. There we go.
It says live.
Yes, we're live. Hopefully, we'll have no more hiccups this morning. We've had a few, but never mind. Right, I'm just going to check on YouTube as well. 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We're back for season 2 of the Live Lounge, the VA Live Lounge, and it's been a brilliant summer. Nice to have a break, but I'm really excited to bring the Live Lounge back because it was a really good first season last season, and we had lots of fun. We had some amazing guests, and then this season we start with a new amazing guest, Lynsey Cook, owner of Need a VA. Welcome, Lynsey.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. I've been kind of stalking Lynsey for a while on Instagram, and I thought, oh, when I was thinking about who I could invite, she just was like the first person on my mind. So today we're going to be talking about how to get visible as a VA, which I think is a question most VAs have. How to get clients, how to make sure they're showing up. And Lynsey's going to be perfect to be able to answer that question. But before we dive into the reasons why, Lynsey, tell us a little bit about you and your business.
Thanks. Hi again. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I'm Lynsey Cook, and I have been a virtual assistant for 5 years. Started as lockdown hit. I had literally had no choice but to start my business. It was meant to be a side hustle, and it has become my actual, full-time, more than a full-time job. So yeah, my business is mainly to do with admin and marketing, and I just really, really love admin. I used to always end up in like sales roles or a manager. I always ended up the manager of it wherever I worked, or really high up in sales, and I realized I just didn't enjoy it. So when I heard about what a VA was, I was like, this is the best job. I get to make spreadsheets look lovely, like things like that. So I just jumped at the chance, really. And and now it's progressed to the point of my I'm busy enough. But has that come back to me? Did you say something?
No, it's we've got some feedback for some reason. No reason, no worries, carry on.
All right. I was saying that I've progressed to the point that I practice what I preach, and I have my own virtual assistants that help me with my business. And one of them is my husband that works for me now, full time. So it just worked out, every time I did a school run, you're essentially losing money. So we worked out the best way to do it was with him. Wow. So yeah, it's I keep doing that because he's literally behind that wall in the kitchen.
Hi, Lynsey.
So yeah, he's there. Yeah, but yeah, so and that's where we are now. And then launched Need a VA in December.
Wow, that's an incredible story. So you say you have other VAs that work for you as assistants. Do you also work with associates as well? Do you have are you like an agency?
No, I'm not an agency. I just basically worked out that as a VA, you only have so many hours in a week, and I was like, I do a lot of social media support, lots of things like that, and I thought, well, and I was working with other VAs as associates, like I was associate for other people, and I was like, could you help me with my part of it? So it's more that I have a team rather than I'm an agency. Like, so if someone a client comes on to me, they essentially work with me to start off with, and then they go on, if it's social media, they'll go on to one of my other VAs, or my husband works directly with clients, but it all comes through me in that way. I don't necessarily do the agency model where they come in and then they go and work with someone else. I am still that main person. It's more as well, if say it's a long task that I necessarily can't do, that's when I'll bring in one of the team in that way. So it's, but I can see when I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah, maybe an agency model is the one.
But no, the reason I asked, so it's kind of interesting. We've talked a lot about this, Kirsty and I, because building an agency is not without its flaws. So I know we're going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I still think it's important. And I have noticed there are lead VAs that do work with associates. So associates like do what you're doing, where they delegate the work out, but the associate never meets the client. Is that the kind of model you've got at the moment?
Yeah. And I think it's because it comes to visibility. I network. My brand is me. Like like I said, I started the business in lockdown in essentially a panic situation where I was like, oh, I'll just be Lynsey Cook virtual assistant, rather than like, you're more than a VA, or like, I really should have, now I think about it, I should have called it something, not my name, in the sense that when I network, it's people are drawn to me. It's what I'm saying, how I do it. I presented at a networking event yesterday, and everyone was like, oh my God, your energy, you're this, you're that. And I thought, I can't then say, actually, it's Alicia doing it. That, it's, the integrity and the like, who I am is what my business is. And that's a blessing and a curse, essentially, because people want to work with me and not anyone else. So it's,
Totally
that's the
understand
hard
that.
part.
And if anyone's got any questions as we go through, please feel free to just jump in and ask, and we'll answer them as we go along. The reason this is so interesting is I had the same problem, where, exactly the same issue with when I always knew I wanted to build an agency, and I always knew that I wanted to be able to pass the clients on. But because they were me networking and they got to know me, when we had that call and I had to get to the point in the conversation, I would say, yes, so you won't be working with me. They often wouldn't sign up. The way I got around that was I don't take inquiry calls anymore. So Kirsty's the person that does all of it. She does all of the client onboarding. So although I build the business in the background, Kirsty's very much in charge of the associates and the clients, and that's her role in the business, isn't it, Kirsty? And she does an amazing job. But that means that they build that relationship with Kirsty, but they know I'm the owner of the business. And so it was a great way to get around it. But it doesn't mean we don't have our problems, because when you work with associates, and we have got an amazing team, I have to say, at the moment, probably the best team we've ever had, but you still get the issue where the trust, you're letting that client go and work with the associate, and we have had associates steal clients. So it is, we've been talking a lot about how to get around this issue, and is there a way we can do it so that associates don't work directly with clients? And actually, LTVA, which is my agency, we're about to transition into the OBM space instead. And then we will be able to really start to follow that model. But it's interesting because there's lots of different ways to build your business. And I think the way you're doing it is probably, a really good way. So when you started out and it was like COVID time, which seems everybody, because I did the same thing, exactly the same as you. How did you make yourself visible?
Social media.
Just social media, or?
Yeah, that was my way. So if I just give a bit of context, that I basically quit my high level sales job and got a part-time job as a sales coordinator, so I could just go in 10 till 2 3 days a week. It was an absolute dream. I was like, I'm doing this with my eyes closed, this is great. And then do the VA stuff on top. And I was just doing like expenses, things like that. People just giving me I was doing literal receipt work. And then I got sacked because it was 7 days and COVID hit. So they were literally like, we can't do anything, no furlough, anything. I had 2 kids under 4 at home. homeschooling, and no money. First time in my life on benefits, everything. I was like, this is, and that was, he had to work. He was classed as a key worker. Not, I don't really understand how, but he was. And so he worked the whole time, and I was at home with the kids.
God.
And yeah, it was, my eldest was in reception, so it was really like, it was all of it. So I couldn't get any work. So I just basically joined every single like mum in business or woman in business thing. And even that had its dramas. There was businesses explode, like they were having arguments and things. And I was like, I'm brand new to this and I don't understand anything. And they did like courses on social media for like £10. Like they were, but then now thinking back, well, they weren't making any money, were they? So they were trying to get as many people in as possible for these like low ticket courses. So with social media, I'd literally only ever taken pictures of my dog, kids, or food. And I I was like, well, this is the only way I'm going to be seen, isn't it? Like I was an avatar of my face. It wasn't even my face. It was,
Mm.
the free like bit emoji like thing. I used that, all these different things, but I just had to hammer it out. I was posting every day, posting different things about why I loved admin, more about like just constant. And then I started putting my face out. And then I started posting to groups because I was literally learning on the job. I was like, okay, so now I've got to use hashtags. Oh, now they're saying not use hashtags. I was like, oh my God,
Yeah, it's a
just
minefield.
do something. So I started and I learned and watched a lot of people's socials basically and figured it out of, are you going to be an influencer? No. Are you going to you want to do a business? Do I want to then promote people's socials? Does anyone have time for socials? And I started and it built and built and built that way. And then that went on for about a year and a half because of COVID, yeah, because of lockdowns. And then I was asked back to the place I was sacked because they were like, we know we need you. They
Mhm.
brought me back in a different role. And that day that I started, my phone blew up of
Really?
clients, people wanting to work with me because the world was opening up and they were like, we've seen this girl everywhere. And it was all local people. I'm in Braintree in Essex. And it was because I've been hammering all the local groups. Everyone was like, this girl's face. We've seen her everywhere. We want to work with her. So that's how it progressed. That's how I got seen, was just keeping my
Yeah.
face.
And that is a real testament to consistency, isn't it? And I bang on about this all the time. You have to just keep doing it. Like every week, I have a schedule which looks like today I've got to be posting in Facebook groups. Tomorrow I've got to be, and even though you might not get any traction straight away, you just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it because somebody's watching, people are seeing it, and it only has to land at the right moment where at that particular day, at that particular time, someone sees that post, they've seen it before, and they go, oh, yeah, I've got to do that. I've got to ring that person.
Yeah.
So it's about consistency and just keep going and keep going. And you can't just do it for like a few weeks. It's months and months. And in your case, over a year of doing that.
Yeah. You've got to
Absolutely.
build momentum.
Yeah.
And it also, like you said, that person will see it at the right time. All of this is, honestly, I could go on about social media so much. All of this, I must post at 10:30 in the morning or at 7:30 at night. It is like those analytics essentially rubbish. If you went on your reel, your feed right this second, you will have a post from 8 seconds ago, an hour ago, then 6 days ago. So
Yeah.
what does it matter, that person that posted 6 days ago, because now you're seeing it on a Friday morning?
Yeah. Exactly.
There's something wrong with I mean, anyone that says that they know the algorithm is again a liar. But like it is, I don't understand why that happens. Why am I seeing something from 6 days ago? But that's why you have to keep posting. You
Yeah.
can't stop. You have to keep going. And
Yeah.
as a VA, that's the offering I have in my social media. I don't do social media management. I fell down that hole before and that was silly. I won't do that again. I only show that I can give people consistency because that's the level of businesses I'm working with. That's all they want.
Yeah.
They're not Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So they just want to be on socials all the time. And
Yeah.
that's what I offer. and that's what I push.
That's amazing. If anyone watching or listening also started their VA businesses during COVID, comment, let us know. A thumbs up. So what social media channels did you start using?
Facebook and Instagram.
Right,
That's
okay.
where I started.
Not LinkedIn then?
And then, pardon?
Not LinkedIn?
I use LinkedIn because I didn't really understand it, and then I've now learned about it, and because it was more of it had all my kind of corporate life on it, and I couldn't quite show the transition. I was posting on it, but not a lot. And then because I post across the board, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at once, I then started being seen on LinkedIn that way. And this one is to let you know, Lisa, from our conversation at like 2 days ago, I have now been posting on TikTok.
Brilliant.
Just my face, just been talking at it. Like as I turned up at networking yesterday, I was like, I'm just gonna do it. Do it. And yeah, it had 1,200 views.
Amazing. You're starting to get followers.
And I did it. I got 4 new followers yesterday. I was like, well, let's just do it. And today as I was doing it, my washing machine was going off, and I was like, we're real. Come on, virtual assistants. This is what happens. So, but yeah, I'm now dabbling, and I'm just gonna work it out.
For anyone that doesn't know what that is in reference to, I've been talking recently about how TikTok's been really successful for me, and I didn't think it ever could be. And that's just a couple of years of trying different things. For my VA agency, I was trying it to get clients, but it just didn't work because I think I was overcomplicating things and trying to make TikTok, be cool videos, really fun. And honestly, you're either an entertainer or an educator on TikTok. And I decided to pick the educator route. All I do is talking head videos, just giving value to VAs, and it's like exploded. I think today I'm over, 1,100 odd followers now, and it just every single day I get more followers than I've ever got on Instagram or anywhere else. So just if there's anyone out there that's trying to get clients and you want to have a go at TikTok, I would say what you need to be talking about is your particular niche. So let's say, for example, you were talking about you're a tech VA and you want to help business coaches. You would just go on there every day and talk about launching and sales funnels and how to do this and how not to do that. But you wouldn't be talking about your business. But in Lynsey's case, because you have your directory, which we're going to come to, it's a great opportunity for you to talk about how you can help other VAs. And there's loads of VAs on TikTok looking for support. So, hopefully, I'm going to keep an eye on that now because I'm glad it's working for you. But it's interesting. A lot of VAs say that they find LinkedIn tricky. They don't understand it. But actually, it is just the same as really posting on, Facebook. It's just a business Facebook, really.
Do you know what it is with LinkedIn? And this is just coming from a personal view. I never used to post on LinkedIn because I was terrified of it. It was almost like a grown-up Facebook for me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know how to do social media anyway. Before I joined the agency and started working with Lisa, I was terrified of social media. Didn't really know what I was doing. Didn't really know what to post. Graphics I was doing were rubbish, and it was sort of like a really scary area. And then I was like, oh, you should post on LinkedIn. I was like, I just can't. I'm so terrified of it. And then I just started doing like ChatGPT came around, and I was like, right, I'll do a blog and I'll do this and I'll do that. And I just weekly just used to put anything on there, and I was like commenting, liking, sharing, getting into groups. And the more and more and more you use it, the more you get used. It just becomes like an everyday thing, doesn't it? And then in January, I'd been so consistent, and that is the absolute key, isn't it? Being consistent. In January, this really lovely lady messaged me and said, I'm looking for a VA. I've seen you're consistent online, liking your post, you're doing really good facts and that. And now I've been working with her since January. And it's lovely. So that the key is to be consistent. And I know it's scary, but just do it. What have you got to lose? And I say that to people all the time. What have you got to lose? Like, one of our associates is terrified of marketing herself. She's terrified of it. Mm. And I've been like coaching her and like doing messages. And I actually did some messaging for her just to show her that if you get a no or a no response, so what? Just keep going. And now she's started to do it herself. But you're right. It's consistency. It's not necessarily when. It's being there all the time.
Yeah. And when
Yeah.
I network, I people will say, "Oh my God, you're constantly on LinkedIn, aren't you? I see you all over the place." And my posts are scheduled, so I don't even feel like I'm on there. But people are seeing it, and it really does make a difference. And it makes sense to be on LinkedIn because you are business to business. You are trying to work with business owners, and they are more likely to be on LinkedIn, depending on your niche. Because I always give this analogy: if your niche is the aesthetics industry, well, you're probably better off on Instagram. But if your niche is something like business, corporate, you're going to want to be on LinkedIn. They're not going to be on Instagram, and they're not going to be interested. So it is important to know what your niche is, because that's going to define what channel to be on. How have you found LinkedIn now that you're using it? Have you managed to get any clients through LinkedIn?
No.
At least you're honest.
Well, you're going to be consistent though with it.
100%. Sorry, that's how I live. Yeah, I haven't. No, LinkedIn's not been a work for me.
Okay.
Even with the directory, it hasn't. No one's come through. However, I do get told, like yourself, I see you all the time on LinkedIn. I do get I get a lot of likes. I get a lot of traction in that sense. But like I said, it's got all of my, like I said, old life on there, as in like old corporate people that I worked with 20, 25 years ago. I know Facebook has all that, but they're in there, and they're there looking at their business and pushing their business, not necessarily for the VA. I wouldn't say I'm corporate. I'm not a corporate VA in that. I'm too honest, probably. I'm too down the line. And so maybe that's not where my VA work comes from, but I will always post on there because I know it's worth it.
Yeah.
And I'm like you, like saying with scheduling, VAs have got to learn to schedule. They've got to. I've done some like free resources on how to use Meta Business Suite, which I personally hate, and I use other ones because I've got too many clients to have on Meta Business Suite. I'd be there all day. So I think learning to schedule is the key. Totally. Because like you said, you don't even, people go, "Oh my God, I loved your post Tuesday." I'm like,
Was it?
Yeah.
what did you do? Like, so you have to, I think it takes away, and also we're meant to be organized people in a sense, aren't we? We're meant to have that kind of everything working on up the top, we're fine, and working like underneath. And I think having your posts scheduled, and even if it's just a week ahead, like I do for my clients, I do a month, I do a whole month, and it's done. And so why not do that for yourself, essentially? And also to your associate that is scared of doing socials, outsource it. There's millions of VAs out there that are social media VAs. I'm a true believer in outsourcing. If you if you don't have time for something like a VA, you don't have time and you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Outsource it.
Outsource it to you, Kirsty.
Yeah.
So what I was going to say was we have got lots of clients from LinkedIn. So the majority of our clients come from LinkedIn or networking. And that's because I think I started out on LinkedIn before I ever went to Instagram. I just couldn't understand why anyone would be looking for a VA on Instagram. So I never used Instagram to begin with. Now I do. Obviously, I have for the last couple of years, but I concentrated so much on LinkedIn, it really worked for me. And also it goes hand in hand with networking. So when you network, you then connect with the people on LinkedIn, and you continue to build those relationships. And I think that's, if for anyone listening that really does want to make LinkedIn work for you, then you have to boost your profile. You have to change all of your description, your bio, everything needs to change. You need to make sure people can understand what you're doing, and you've got to post consistently. But with LinkedIn, I always say Instagram is like the one night stand, and LinkedIn is like wifey material. One of them you have to date and get to know and nurture and turn into your wife, and that's LinkedIn, because you've got to build your connections. You've got to then be reaching out to people. You've got to be having conversations. It's a real slow burn. But the other way it works for us is through lead generation. So we use Sales Navigator, and we send messages to people, and we've got clients that way too. So you do have to pay for that, but you can get a 1 month free trial. But it's worked really well for us, hasn't it, Kirsten? We get inquiries through there. I have to admit, I've spent that much time focusing on TikTok lately that I've kind of left LinkedIn behind, so I need to go back to it. Gemma, as I think it is Gemma, isn't it, has said that her niche, because we've just been chatting on the comments, that she uses Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, but she's had some issues with Facebook groups. I'd be interested to know what those issues are, if you could let us know. And she doesn't like TikTok, but should give it a try. And then when I asked her what her niche was, she said admin and Airbnb host, and she'll be adding travel soon. And that's great, Gemma. I am also a travel agent now, so if you're interested in joining my team, let me know. But I would say, because one of your niches is Airbnb, then TikTok will work really, really well for you to be going on there, just talking to Airbnb hosts about, this is how to streamline your bookings. This is why you need a cleaner. This is, all of that kind of stuff. I was an Airbnb host for a few years, so I think that it could absolutely work for you. And then on LinkedIn, you can just be connecting with people who are Airbnb hosts. All you've got to do is put in the search Airbnb host. You could build connections first. So always connect before you cold message, connect. And then over time, just send them a message. How you doing? I just thought I'd learn a bit more about you. And then you just let them know, look, I'm an Airbnb VA. Do you need any support? And that kind of thing. So that's what I would be doing. I think it's going to be easier to find Airbnb hosts on travel Instagram pages and on LinkedIn than it is just standard, Instagram. Also, there's loads of Airbnb Facebook groups as well, because I used to be in them. And what else has she said? Nothing else yet. So let us know what your Facebook group issues are. Lynsey, did you have much success in Facebook groups?
Yeah. As in specific local Facebook groups. The massive ones, this kind of leads into why I made Need a VA. When they put, I have a VA opportunity, and then it's 200 comments.
Annoying.
Like, the frustration is off the scale for that. But local groups, like I said, where I am in Braintree, I am known. I am 100% known. We have quite a big coffee shop chain here. They found me. Well, they were having trouble with something, and they literally had a meeting and were like, "There's a girl. There's a girl's face. She's got pink hair. I see her all the time." And then they were like, "Oh yeah, it's Lynsey Cook VA, and then it came from that. And that was all through me putting it on our local hub once a week. Or that, I would say, I'm like, oh, better post on the group. I'm like, oh, I'll put them out to the local groups that way. I'm also tagged a lot in there. So when people say, oh, I need help with this or anything like that, I get tagged. Because my networking, and also just actual friends and family, because it's local, I get tagged in that kind of group. But for the big boys, I'm sorry. And have you ever got work out of any of those? I need a VA.
No. And also there was one, I cannot remember the name of it. There were so many bitchy people in it. They were just, I removed myself in the end, because it was just became like a really toxic group, and people were like putting nasty comments, and like it was just vile. So you have to be really careful which groups. There is like two really nice ones that I still like dabble into every now and then, but I don't generally post in there. I don't know why. I just never have. I don't know why I've never really done Facebook.
I do it. I do it once a week. Lynsey, how often do you post in the groups then?
For the directory, we post 3 times a week.
Well, for you, for like your business.
For me personally, once a week.
Once a week. And do you also then go in searching as well for people looking for a VA, or do you only post? No,
I only post. I don't think if I see something come up, I won't comment. I just don't see the point. I remember when I first started commenting on these things, going, "Oh my God, I'm definitely the VA they need. Oh yeah, love me."
Yeah.
And I would sit there like, I've got a lead, like I've written down, I've got a lead, and I'd be like, and then I'd hear nothing, because you would direct message them, so therefore it's lost. I hate Facebook Messenger. Get lost in there. Yeah. And it's just, and you're like, oh yeah, on Instagram you have to be their friend, otherwise they can't see you, because then you have a request and it's disappeared. So I that's where the frustration for me lied. And when you would look at it, some people would just throw out their hourly rate as well, and you'd be like, it's £15 an hour. And they're like, I think that, I mean, well, I'm sure you spoke about industry standard of hourly rate enough times. It's when someone comes in that low, what chance have you got? Or if you've got, and if someone is going, oh, I don't want to spend a lot of money, you're like, well, we have an hourly rate. It's not about wanting to spend a lot of money. It's about what you actually need and what you're going to get. So I suppose that's a whole other podcast.
No, I think that's really interesting and good to know, because that's all I do is once a week and I don't, go through. And Gemma said that her professional page is new. They keep declining her posts. So I've been told I have to wait a couple of months before my page is established. Now, my personal advice would be join the groups as yourself.
As you.
Because that's what people want to know. They're not going to be interested, no offense. I don't think people are necessarily going to be bothered about the business. So I would be posting as you. I always do it as me. It's way more personable. And that's the thing. I mean, that's what's happened to Lynsey. They've got to know her that way. What would your advice be the same then, Lynsey?
Yeah, definitely. But like I said, a lot of the groups won't let you join as a business anyway. So, I mean, I do find it annoying because my personal Facebook is my personal Facebook, and do what I want on there, can't I? So I don't necessarily, it's private, and I do have everything about the business on there, but yeah, I get it. But yeah, she'd have to go in as herself. And also loads and loads of groups will open up for her then. Loads.
Yeah, loads. And what you can do is you can say, I'm Gemma from, and then tag in your business and do it that way. So hopefully that will work for you. Give it a try. So you talked a lot about that you worked in sales, and part of being a VA, and you said you hated that, is you do have to sell. How easy or difficult do you find that?
Because I can sell myself. I know my value. I know my worth. I know what I can do. I'm very down the line. I'm very down the line in the sense, if someone asks for something that I can't do, I'll say, I can't do it, but one of my team can, things like that. When I worked in sales, I was selling, I mean, I sold everything, but like, if I didn't like the hard sell of so can I take it? So sign here. So you like, because I have a boss, saying my target of what I've got to do. So, or if someone wants to buy, I used to work in plastic tubes, right? If someone wants to buy those tubes, they'll buy the tubes. They're not gonna, there's only 2 other businesses they can ask. It's like, I didn't like pushing that in people's faces, that side of sales. I mean, I've done telesales as well. I was selling franking machines. That's, but you're like, so do you, the way that the sales funnel works when you're doing a sales call is, I do not like it. I sell my business and my beliefs and my, if you don't like my vibe, don't work with me. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
That way.
I think you do have to be comfortable selling yourself, and sometimes that comes with confidence, doesn't it? It comes with building confidence. So what would you say has been your most successful? I have to put that out of the podcast. What do you think?
Hey, this is a family show,
What do you think has been your most successful method that you've used, or strategy of getting clients?
Clients would be on social media.
Which specific social media channel? The Facebook groups?
Yeah, my local Facebook groups. My favorite place to live is Instagram.
Right.
But where it is so where you can work with, well, you all know the business owners that go, oh my God, I don't understand Facebook, I don't or Instagram, I don't want to be part of it. So they don't ever see you but they are a successful business and they do need a VA. So mine is Facebook, and with that, networking.
Yeah, networking is so important. We talk about this all the time, and face-to-face networking if you can, because it's all about building. It's not about getting clients, it's about building connections, isn't it? Because those people, they're the ones that are going to remember you and go out and refer you, and that's how you've got it. I mean, I know more people, I've got more friends from networking business than I have actual friends. It's quite sad.
No, not.
Oh,
But then with the networking, you get to know each other on a very different level than you would a friend, I
yeah.
think. Because you can turn up and go, man, this client's done this at them, and they'll go, they get that. Whereas your friend that might not have their own business, they don't get it. And I mean, from networking, I wouldn't have the directory if it wasn't for networking, because I have my business bestie who is a web designer. If I didn't have her and I hadn't have gone networking and met her, this wouldn't have happened.
Wow.
So, and like I said, with the outsourcing, you meet people there and you go, oh, they can help me with that, and it goes. And
Yeah.
have you heard the phrase like super connector, that
Yes.
kind of thing?
Yeah.
People say I'm that, in the sense that I can't have a conversation with someone without going, oh, do you know who you need?
Yeah.
I know this person. It's all the time. But I love networking, but like you said, it all comes from confidence.
Yeah.
And where I have been at networking events and I give it my all. I'm very enthusiastic, and I'm talking about my VA, and then I'm next to another VA, and they go, "Oh, so what do you do?" And they go, "I'm just a VA."
I know.
And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Sell themselves. Yeah.
"Built this. Why we're all needed, and you're just a VA."
Yeah.
We always say that though, don't we? We like when we first started doing this, we sort of said that it's unnatural, isn't it, to sit there and be, I can do this, and this is what I can do, and it's. I certainly do struggle with stuff like that, but probably not so much so recently. But people don't naturally want to go, I'm the person for you because some people can think it can come across as being cocky.
Yeah.
And some people don't think, oh, that's a bit forward or whatever. But actually, if you don't be like that, then no one's ever going to know what you can do. It's just difficult to do it, isn't it? But once you've done it 2 or 3 times, it becomes more easier to do it, I think.
Yeah. I actually got a confidence coach.
I don't think we sell ourselves.
I had coaching.
Sorry. Come on.
Yeah, to really to change how I was saying things, and to change because I classed myself as a confident person, and then the first time I went networking and I stood up and did my 70 seconds, I was like,
Yeah.
I love admin. Like, I was like, that's why you should work with me. And I was like, oh God. And then I learned how to say it properly, or say, even now I'd fall over my words, but then that shows that I'm real.
Yeah.
And that's, and like where you just said about you struggling, you're on a podcast right now. There's, however many people watching. It doesn't, like,
Yeah.
I found I've learned how to be more confident, and I found, like I said, selling myself a lot easier than I found selling plastic tubes.
Well, I can imagine. So, Lynsey, you've mentioned a lot there, your directory, because VAs think about social media. They might put an ad in a newspaper. They'll might maybe boost some Instagram posts, pay for Google ads, but maybe they haven't thought about a directory. Tell us about your directory and how that came about.
So last year I went on lots of strategy days, and where there were lots of coaches and people selling air, and telling us how they can make us a 6-figure business and whatever else. We all know who those people are. And I was there and I was like listening and thinking, great. And they started using words like funnels, lead magnets, and strategy, all these things. And I could just see in this room of people, a lot of coaches all just going blank, and going, they're like, I want that money and I want that amount and I want that business, but I have no idea how to get there. And I'm thinking, like, you lot all need a VA. All of you need VAs. I was like, and I was getting quite hit up by it. And I was like, this is mad. And then they had like opportunities to speak at the event. And I put my hat in, no preparation at all, but I was like, I'm going in, I don't care. And I wasn't picked. People that were picked were people that were doing public speaking courses. So it was all a big fix anyway. And I was like, okay, maybe they could hear me talking. And I was like, I want to be a whistleblower on this, that you guys are all trying to get your funnels and do your mailer light things and everything like that, but you have no idea how to do it. So And that happened to me 3 times. I had 3 events where I put my name in a hat and I didn't get picked out. And I was like, I don't know what to do here. And then I was talking to my business bestie about being she's a web designer. And I was like, what can I do? How can I get everybody to use a VA? Not necessarily me, because there's only one of me. And I also, how many VAs are there? And I started looking into it and I was like, there's thousands and thousands of them in the UK. Like, what can I do? And she was like, well, why don't you start an agency? And I said, I was like, I don't want it. I didn't want like you said, like the problems that you have. I just didn't want the conflicts and things like that. I just wanted, I didn't. And then we said about a directory, and I was like, is there a directory? Started looking through, and I was like, I cannot find a virtual assistant directory anywhere. Now, I don't know about you. Every time I've put myself on a directory, even when you do your tax return, there's no such thing as a virtual assistant, right? And I was like, there isn't one. There isn't one. So if someone was a new business, because I mean, how many times are you also asked, what is a VA? What do you do? I've never heard of a VA. So I was like, if I was that business owner, where would I find a VA? So we started looking at search engines and how we'd work it, and started putting in need a VA. And I was like, I need a VA. I need it. And then we were like, hold on a minute, we can do this. So it's need a VA, because everybody needs a VA. Needava.co.uk came about. So that was literally it. And I was like, and people were going to me, if anyone's going to shout about virtual assistants, it's you. I was like, I'll shout, don't worry. And it basically came from there. And that was in September. So a year ago, we started talking about it. And then we launched it in December. I'd never launched a new business. Like I said, I started my business in COVID. I didn't know. Also running a second business alongside this business, I didn't realize what that would entail. And I just wanted everybody to find virtual assistants.
So how do you get, so the concept is business owners that are looking for VAs will come to your website and look through the directory. So how do you get business owners to know that you're there and you exist? How are you doing that?
So again, my social media presence, I'm using the groups. Like I said, I'm posting 3 times a week, because sometimes you can on a Tuesday and then on a all that kind of jazz. So we're pushing it as far as we can that way. But then also, like I said, I'm working with a very, very talented web developer who's using SEO. I would say I'm SEOing the pants off of it. So it's like, as much, we've got all the different strategies and ways ahead. The unfortunate thing is that there isn't any others. So you have nothing to compare it against. And then also the SEO, there's not necessarily those thing, how keywords work, in the sense of, if there's a lot of them, then that's where you need to be. And where there isn't this directory, we're brand new. So don't get me wrong, I've had pushback and people say there are other directories. I'm like, well, I haven't found them. So I can't find them. So I'm pushing it that way. So we've been launched since December, and it grows weekly. Weekly, it goes up and up and up, with more people finding it all the time. I promote it in all my networking as well, and I have people come to me that necessarily don't want to work with me, and I go on the site and have a look, see who you like, and where I've done it as categories or specialisms. You can find, if you're looking for a travel VA, you can literally go there and get a travel VA, rather than finding an admin VA that might do a travel bit on the side, which doesn't help in the niche way.
So how does it work then? If somebody signs up to the directory, how much does it cost? And then does the person looking just find them, click on them, contact them, or do they go through work?
So I've varied the pricing because of I want it to be accessible to everybody. So it starts from £4.99 a month, and you can buy like a yearly subscription if you wanted, or it goes to £29.99 a month. I'd say I hate to use the word obviously, because it's not obvious, but the more you pay, the more promotion that you will receive out of it. So if you're on the higher amount, you can become at the top of the list, and also you can have bigger pictures, web links, things like that. So I have nothing to do with whether people get work or not.
Yeah.
People, if ABC Business found you on there, they would click the link and find you. It doesn't directly link through me, so I have no way of knowing that. They can go on there and see your email, see your socials, see everything, and look you up that way, and websites. So it's just another place for people to be seen. I called it another piece of the puzzle. We know we all need to be on socials. We all need to be networking. And this is, I have a website. This is just another piece to be there. And also it's all the time, so you don't have to keep updating it. You can as much as you want, but it's there. People can find you and find and give you work that way.
Oh, okay.
It
So the
sounds
VA
brilliant.
does a subscription.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you can promote yourself as much or as little as you want in that sense. So if you were to go with the smaller amount, you're just going to get your name and the email address and your website. But if you were to go for the get hired, you're going to get all of that plus your logo, plus your social links, plus you can put up to 3 specialisms that way, because I know I'm one of those VAs that does everything, so it's like you have to put all the bits in there. But I think it's really good for, if you're a social media VA, that's what you are. I mean, I met a VA the other day that doesn't do admin.
Really?
She's like, nah, just creative. I was like, all right, fair enough. I was like, there is a creative VA part there, or like a marketing VA, that kind of thing. So I just think it's, like I said, I've even tried to go onto like 118 or things like that to be there. There's no virtual assistant bit. I'm like, that's such an integral part of business now. Like, especially like since I started, more and more people know what they are. So, and that's literally why.
Yeah. If anyone's got any questions about the directory whilst we've got a few minutes, then please drop them in the comments. I know what you're saying. It's like I advertised on yale.com for a while, and you have to go under secretarial services. So it is really annoying. I mean, I've even had trouble with things like not opening bank accounts, but other legal things, because you can't find a box to tick to say what you do. You're in other categories. So do you only have solo VAs on your directory, or can agencies also, be added onto there as well?
Yeah, agencies can. Yeah, you'd go on the same way. They're on there, but it's like that. If you wanted, say, all of your VAs on there, give me a shout and I can work out a way of how you can all go on there that way. But if it's just an agency, yeah, it's all on there.
Amazing. I'm gonna have to go and have a look after this. So have a proper look. I've looked on the website. It's beautiful. I say beautiful because it looks really aesthetically pleasing, doesn't it?
It is so beautiful.
It is a beautiful. Have you seen it, Kirsty?
I haven't seen it yet. No, I'll have a look after this.
You need to go and have a look. Lovely. And I suppose there's so much more that you can do with it. Thinking with my entrepreneurial mind now, I'm just thinking, but can't it be and it could be anything, it doesn't have to be a VA. There's so much more. You're obviously already thinking.
I just need to copyright the needer.
Yeah.
And then it's in. But I have done, I wanted to make it so that VAs weren't just advertising on there. There's loads of free resources on there, which I'm building all the time. I have also made I called it Pathway to VA. It's basically the document that I wish that I had been given when I first started. If someone had just said, read this, and then I'd go, okay, great. So I created that, which again is my own personal experience of being a VA and how I got there and what I, the amount of mistakes that I've made along the way, those kind of things, to know that then people aren't, it's okay to make those kind of mistakes along there. Yeah. So I've done that part as well. Over the next, hopefully this side of the year, we're going to get some masterclasses in with I've got a confidence coach that I used and wants to speak to other virtual assistants so that we can help everybody with this the confidence of being that they're having their face everywhere. And then also my web designer, she wants to come on and talk to them all about having the right website as a VA as well, so that you know, because there's a lot of people that did start in COVID that they went, oh, I just quickly made that website, and you're like, yeah, it needs work now.
Did you?
So yeah, all been there. So these little things like that, and I have a manifestation coach as well that I want to come on to help, again, just really VA specific, because I feel like there's just not enough for us.
Yeah.
around.
Somebody in the comments, lovely path, has wrote joined. Does that mean that you've joined the need a VA directory? And have you done that while you've been on this live? Because if so, this is a very successful live.
What was the name?
It's I think obviously this is a handle, lovelit.path. So it might be not the name used on the directory, but oh no,
Yeah, tell me who they are.
No. Anyway, so right, coming back to the directory, it does sound absolutely fascinating. And I'm definitely going to go and have a look. And it is another way to get yourself out there, because we need all the help we can get as virtual assistants to you know, especially because there's so many. I think there's something like 40 million globally. So, you know, that's a massive market. Have you thought about a lot of
spreadsheets?
It's a lot of spreadsheets. Have you thought about, you know, moving into like America, Australia, and taking your directory there?
Would you believe last night I got the first ever American VA on the site?
Well done, that's amazing.
So, because a lot of people have asked, and because it's international, there's been problems with the payments. I used Go Cardless and it just wasn't working with them, but it seems to be working now, so that's fine. Because it's needava.co.uk. The business, because it's the businesses that are going to be UK businesses that are going to find it. The VAs can be from anywhere, and as long as they're on there, and where it's I use the niches and the specialisms. It's if they're looking for that travel VA, they'll find the travel VA. It doesn't matter where they are in the world, at least they can find it that way. And that's, I just, like I said, just want them all. I want everyone to be seen all the time.
Gemma said she's going to take a look at the directory. And do the VAs put their pricing on there? Do they put like their pricing bracket?
If you want, when you get to the higher level of the membership, yes, you can. It just depends which level you get. I would put my hourly rate on there. I think it's better too, because it's about worth, I feel. And I don't know about you, I have been undercut and lost clients just simply because someone's rocked in at £5 an hour, and I'm like, crack on, see you again in 3 months' week. Time. Yeah.
So when you're in more of a mess than you're in now.
Yeah, best
a
of luck.
bit of controversy in then. I asked this for two reasons. A lot of the people that reach out to me on TikTok are from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, places like that, and generally will charge less. I don't necessarily agree that somebody who's got the same skills as me should be paid less just because they're in, you know, a poorer country. But that's up to them how they charge. So could they come and advertise on your directory? And if they could, are you fearful that if they're putting their pricing on, they will start to outbid UK VAs who will get annoyed that they're not getting any work from your directory?
Yes, I would say we do vet before we accept. We go through and make sure, because I mean, some people, I've had people that have tried to join and their name has been like a subject line, and I'm like, no, it's your name, like that kind of thing, because they're trying to be seen everywhere, but it wouldn't work anyway. But yeah, it would be a case of, I talk a lot, I do blogs about hourly rate, because it is such a big thing, I think. Hourly rate, and also I post about hourly rate as well, what you're worth and what you should be charging, and people tell me what I should be charging all the time, so I have that in there. if they were to advertise, you'd have to do the higher level of membership anyway to be able to put your hourly rate on there. So if they are only charging I don't know, something ridiculous, they're never going to pay. They wouldn't pay to go on the directory anyway. So I don't think that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Just on, like, because we had a couple of years ago like a real problem with a couple of associates that we brought on, and so we upped our vetting process, which is now really, really strict. And so what's your vetting process like? And like, because obviously if people are joining the directory, you don't know, who they are, or we had quite a lot of associates say, oh yeah, I can do social media and I can build a website from scratch, and we'd match them with a client and they go, actually I don't know how to build a website from scratch. What's your vetting process like?
So I go through, I have a little bit of a stalk on socials.
We do that.
Right, go through.
We do that.
Yeah, can find out anything. I with that, because I am not an agent, I'm literally saying, here's your virtual assistant, and then the client is speaking to that VA. They won't start working with them until they've got that bit, the relationship and everything anyway. So I would suggest, I couldn't tell you. And I've also said to VAs that are starting, it's a great place to go because it doesn't have to show your experience. Because if they're saying, I'm not going to get any work because I don't have any experience, if you're having an interview with someone, yes, you'll talk about what you can do. Your experience is however you are putting that experience out there. It's not like with socials where you are or using a review or something like that, going on your Google reviews or your Facebook. But I would go through people, have a look where they are, make sure that it is what it is. But them actually getting work is still down to them, because it's like I said, it's all about vibe. You can't, there's a lot of people that wouldn't work with me because of who I am, but not necessarily because of what I can do. It's all about the relationship that is built. I suppose.
Definitely. Yeah. No, it's been really insightful and I hope helpful. As always, once the live's ended, we'll post the video back onto the grid, so it's always there. It'll be on our YouTube channel, More Than a VA, and next week released as the podcast as well, so you can have a listen back. But some really great, great insights there. And what's been really refreshing is to hear someone talk openly and honestly about the difficulties, and that actually, not some of these platforms that are like God to VAs that you're told are like the Bible, they don't work for you. They didn't work for you, and you've had to do it in a different way, and it's worked doing it that way. So there's always another way. You just have to find your route, the best platform for you, your niche, because I think that helps, and be consistent. I think that's the main key. And get on Lynsey's directory. I'll come over with you after this about your directory anyway. But yeah, it's been fascinating. So, Lynsey, where can people find you?
So you can find me on Instagram. I'm there all the time. So as a VA, I'm Lynsey Cook admin. You can't miss me. I'm in that way. Just spell my name right. That's always the one. And then on Nida VA is Nida VA _official.
Okay. And what's your website?
My website is nidava.co.uk and lynseycook.com.
I hope you own the .com version of that website as well.
I don't.
Yes, she does. She's going to go.
An American place has it. It's like £600. I was like, no. Yeah, no. Yeah. So, I am copyrighted. Copyrighted because, well, it's a whole other story.
That's good to know. Maybe you can go and get it off them. You can go and tell them to cease and desist because you own the copyright. Lynsey, thank you so much for coming on. If anybody's got any comments or questions for Lynsey long after the show, then just drop them in still and we'll pass them over to Lynsey or tag Lynsey in to answer you. Thank you everybody that's joined this morning and listened in and asked questions, and we'll see you next Friday at 10 o'clock.